Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to my video podcast on the future of business and technology. And today's topic is the future of learning, in particular corporate learning and employee engagement. We will cover really important topics like the impact of artificial intelligence, gamification, and the role of immersive technology. And I'm very pleased to say I'm joined today by Eilert Hanoa, who is the CEO of Kahoot, a global learning and engagement platform company that wants to empower everyone, including children, students, and employees, to unlock their full learning potential. Welcome, Eilert.
Thank you very much, and great to be here, and also to be able to talk about Kahoot and how technology in general can help making learning more awesome.
Fantastic. So where are you joining us from today?
So today I'm joining you from Norway, and we also have our HQ in. So even though we are having our origins from the Norwegian tech scene, we are in fact a global company today with employees across the globe and with a HQ that happens to be in Oslo.
Excellent. So maybe you can give us a very brief overview of Kahoot and the business.
Absolutely. So we started basically 10 years ago, back in 2013, and it came out from a great idea at the University of Technology in Norway, where Professor Wang actually saw the need for making a solution that ensured attention with all students, but also the ability to create engagement and a good way to share knowledge. And that was the starting point for Kahoot as we know it today. And since launch, we have basically had 11 billion non-unique players on the platform. So this has truly been a very interesting journey for the solution, for the company, and hopefully also for all our users. But the point of making learning awesome and also having the presenter or the teacher as the session hero is very much also the DNA and our focus today. Since then, of course, we have both grown the company from this project, and we have been able to build a business with approximately 600 employees and around $200 million in turnover the last 12 months as a run rate for the company, which is, of course, also giving us an opportunity to continue to invest and to continue to build great products for the future.
Fantastic. Yeah, we will talk about the solutions in a bit more detail later. To start off with, I would love to get your perspective on how you see that the nature of education has changed and what changes we need to see to make education more relevant for the future.
That's a huge question
Yeah.
and many dimensions to dive into, but there are both positive developments and less positive developments. I think from the journey we've been in this for the last decade, we see that the need for using digital tools where it's right to do so is more important than ever. It's not about necessarily replacing the teacher or the textbook, but as well as being a good companion to enhance learning and also maybe add more efficient learning in many areas that is not that easy to do with just one teacher and 30 books and 30 students with very different starting points. So with a more diverse population, with more bigger classes, maybe a teacher shortage in many countries, and also more requested, let's say, activity level from the students as they have shorter attention span than maybe previous generations had. We think that having solutions that are really making sure that learning is becoming an engaging way of interacting and not just passively receiving information is more important than ever. And we believe that's probably trends that we will see in coming years as well, and where good solutions for both helping the teacher but also helping the student to overcome the barriers to learn, but also making sure that learning is possible to distribute as an individual tracks, even though it's a standardized solution. are really also parts of the solution for some of these challenges. But as always, it's an evolutionary journey. It's a lot of different opportunities that also emerge with new technology, as we're going to talk about today. And of course, it's about making these solutions not being a roadblock for learning or even a showstopper in learning, but rather accelerate learning and the outcome from learning more than ever before. And this is not related only to the classroom, of course. This is as much for professional training, whether it's in big corporations or in small businesses, in public sector, in all phases of life, where learning is either necessary or engaging for increasing the knowledge level of the receiver.
Yeah, with the current level of innovation that we're seeing around artificial intelligence and digital transformation, I'm a great believer that continuous learning has never been more important. So absolutely, I think, and as you said, making learning more engaging, more fun is so important. I can understand how you do this in schools. Is this equally relevant for employees? And what does it mean for people in charge of corporate learning?
Yeah, we believe so. And that's also what we see from the big corporations using Kahoot for all kinds of internal training or training that is facing their partners or their customers. The need for making that information sharing more engaging is, of course, as big in a big corporation as it is in a classroom. Even though you're paid to to receive the training, doesn't mean that it's engaging. As we see also Gen Z, of course, venturing into the work life and their expectations on efficiency and to some extent also shape and form. This also drives the need for new ways of doing corporate learning. Whether you study on the way to work, at home, or in the office, it needs to be engaging. And we see that a lot of the similarities from how do you engage the students is relevant also in the workplace, and similar. Some of the features we're building for big corporations, we also can repackage and tweak so they are becoming great tools for teachers to be using in universities or in middle school and up, of course.
Interesting. Yeah, I'd love to learn more about some of these. Hopefully, we can dive into this. I would love to look at the role of technology now in particular, and especially AI, which is I believe, the most powerful technology we currently have available to us. What role do you see AI play in education?
On a general basis, we believe that AI will strengthen a lot of the processes already have established, whether it's creation of material, as we have also launched as a part of Kahoot, that teachers can super easy build new collections or even full presentations by using AI services as a part of the process, not replacing your own process, of course, but strengthening and helping you accelerate some of the gathering of information. We believe that AI is definitely a study tool that will enhance the simplicity for a student to learn more about a broad topic or a specific fact that might not be well covered in the learning material or from the session that the student had. And we believe that AI also is a great tool to analyze both reports or outcome from those different sessions, whether it's self-study from hundreds of students at a school or university, or what happens live in the classroom. So AI is more of an enhancement and an injection into a great solution and product to help those solutions become more efficient, as we've seen Microsoft doing with Copilot in Microsoft 365 or in Office. And we believe the same goes for educational solutions, whether they are used at home, school, or work, as we are providing in our collections from Kahoot. But
So,
AI in itself is not enough, of course. It needs to be connected to both great trustworthy, and it needs to be used for what it is, a way to accelerate the development or accelerate gathering of information, but not replacing the fact check and not replacing the analysis that is maybe relevant for this particular scenario, or replacing textbooks entirely, of course not.
so when we talk about AI, there are lots of different types of AI. Are you referring to generative generative AI here, or do you refer to AI more traditionally, machine learning AI, to personalize content? Do you have some examples that can bring this to life of how you're using AI and how you envisage this happening in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. My previous comments was primarily around Gen AI. We have had a good partnership with Microsoft and OpenAI to see how we can embed OpenAI from delivered from Microsoft into our platform. We also have some interesting projects where we look into how we can use the new AI services from Apple as well on the iOS and iPad OS devices. We believe that the way we can combine that with trusted sources of knowledge is giving our teachers and students a unique way to both develop but also to present great content. We also have a strong partnership with Get Image Library, so we can use some of their images to also visualize the results from this. And the way you can use Kahoot today is basically by either selecting a source that you choose yourself. That might be an article, might be a PDF, might be a Wikipedia article, and you will basically be able to generate a Kahoot based on that, including illustrations and questions and handouts, and of course group assignments. So we believe that the way AI can help you create, host, and analyze with much less effort and hopefully great result is truly a game changer for especially the time constraint that teachers and educators in general are experiencing these days. But as always, it's not replacing necessarily the tasks that used to be there, but it helps accelerate the subsets of those tasks in a way that is very time efficient for teachers.
Very good. And do you see that there's a nervousness among teachers, or do you feel that teachers are ready to embrace all of this AI technology?
I think with tens of millions of educators around the world, it's of course not an average answer or average experience of an AI. I think we have all shades of gray on how to embrace or not embrace AI, which they are all legit. I think what is the real situation right now is that more and more students are very familiar with AI and using ChatGPT and other services to either to create text or to enhance text or to look up facts. And it's definitely good if teachers and educators in general are able to also embrace and understand the tool. You don't need to love it to embrace it, but you need to understand why and how it can be used, because not using it would be a little bit like not using the calculator. Even though we all agree that if you really want to learn math, it's good to start with a sheet and or paper sheet and a pencil. So I think finding that balance between understanding technology and see where it's meaningful without being binary on using it or not is very important.
Yeah, I absolutely agree that I believe AI has a huge transformative potential for education. The other transformative technology I think could change education forever is more immersive technology like virtual reality, augmented reality, that brings learning to life by putting headsets on and being able to explore ancient worlds and dissecting frogs in augmented reality. Lots of things that I've covered in my writings. What's your view on the role of immersive technology and the future of learning?
We definitely believe it's going to be a big impact. I think it's difficult to say exactly when that's going to happen. Everything from availability of the headset, as you mentioned, the size of the headset, and the ability to wear it while you're actually learning is still not too many examples of that being perfect yet. But the use of VR and AR in different combinations and even subsets of the technology or snippets of the technology embedded into a learning app or using it as a part of a learning journey, absolutely. And again, it's about understanding in this current cycle, how can you use the current available technology on the current available devices for users in a way that will enhance their learning and also reduce, let's say, the roadblocks to get to a good learning outcome. embracing the infrastructure there, whether it's in the API of iOS or if it's a service that you can easily embed from Azure or from Google or from others. That's definitely a big opportunity for all developers of edtech solutions, regardless of the field you're in or even the level or age group you're targeting.
And is this something that is on your roadmap and you're planning to integrate?
Absolutely. We have a few projects we are working on there to see how we can use AR specifically. We also done a little bit of testing with Apple's new VR devices, Vision Pro, and I think it's a great opportunity and a great potential. It's still not a mainstream product from a class learning perspective, but we will see a great set of innovation coming out of the learning outcomes from using Vision Pro in the current version, and also how we have been able to, I would say, simplify and improve some of our more traditional learning experiences on a mobile phone based on also what we have experienced there. So it is a feed loop that, of course, continues to work well for us. Being able to test out new technology and see how the best next generation UX will also impact the way we are interacting with our current devices.
Another interesting aspect of Kahoot is gamification, which is not necessarily technology in its own right, but a process that has seen quite a lot of attention in the learning space. So what role does gamification play in learning and engagement, and why is it effective? Maybe we can start by you giving us an example of what gamification actually looks like.
Yeah, so the thinking we have in Kahoot on gamification in general is that it cannot be gamification for the sake of it. It needs to be a way to make a good process becoming better and help you maybe pass the hurdle of a process which is not super engaging to begin with. But it is a balance. And we believe that as we all are experiencing as humans, whether it's using Strava for your exercise or Waze for your traffic jam, it is a point to have some kinds of interacting or interaction points with others, and also being able to track or pace yourself and benchmark yourself. But Kahoot is all about stimulating your own learning eagerness, if you will. And therefore, we try to put the majority of the gamification into making exactly that happen.
Do you have
Or
some examples for gamification in your product?
sorry?
Do you have some examples of how this works in practice in Kahoot?
Yeah, so of course we have the scores. If you run a traditional Kahoot on a big screen, you have the scores on how fast and how accurate you answer every question. So that's of course a gamification element. We have built several gamification elements into especially the apps we have for younger users when it comes to learning math or learning how to read or even learning languages, of course. We believe that those elements can be enhanced, and you will see several new initiatives from us going forward that we really believe is helping both the teacher in the classroom to trigger the interest for learning more, but also the demand from the students to ask for more learning, basically. And that is really our goal with this, is to not only make you complete your training less painful, but actually having you turn that energy into, I want to learn more. This is actually interesting. I really want to consume more learning and more knowledge versus just coping with whatever's served. So pacing the gamification aspect into those different phases of first getting you to master, because if you can't master, you can't learn. Making sure you have engagement aspect covered, making sure there is a willingness or hunger for receiving more training. That's where we try to focus that. And it's not a feature or a specific way to do it, but it's more enhancing the processes that hopefully are already good in an even better way.
Yeah, I would love to understand how you see the concept of gamification evolving in the corporate world.
Yes, that's definitely. We're all consumers. We see all the games available on your phones and devices every day, whether it's Candy Crush or other training apps that are showing you your stats, of course. But in corporate world, we also need to work on making the learning more engaging. I think that became very clear after the return to office after the pandemic, that the digitalization step up we saw during the pandemic is continuing to impacting the way all users are thinking about their learning and engagement in general. So we will continue to invest in that, both when it comes to the products, the appearance of the products, and also the, I would say, individual tracks that you prefer. We are all different on how much or little sugar we want to have something taste great. And that's, of course, an important part of this. It's not a one size fits all when it comes to how to gamify a process so it's more engaging for you. And I think the most important is not necessarily technology per se, but understanding how to balance the features with the real product, which is of course the content for distributing learning, or the teaching part of how the solution is actually used, and not a gamification for the sake of gaming.
So you've recently launched the Kahoot at Work solution. I'd love to know what inspired you to do this, and also how that is different from the original platform that was designed for schools.
Yes, Cahoot Work is the professional edition of Kahoot that we have been working on for some years. We are having around 40 million players a year on that solution in corporations around the world, from government to NGOs to, of course, big corps and small corps in all parts of the world. And it was enhancement of the original solution that was successful in classroom, to make sure that it was better suited and of course more rich in functionality for a work environment. Some of the features we added were including brainstorm feature, ways to ensure secure login, for example, using corporate email addresses for participating, the ways to do reports for distribution, the ways to be able to brand the whole experience into a corporate event, and of course features that are also for teamwork and for assignments, including self-study, more efficient for a professional audience than it would be for a student or group of students in a classroom. So we continue to invest in this area. It's our biggest area from a specific product perspective investment, all using, of course, the core Kahoot platform. But it's an area where we will continue to launch a lot of exciting features in both in this quarter, but also in the coming quarters in 25.
And I believe that you think that Kahoot at Work will help to address the issue of employee disengagement, which we have seen rise during COVID and in a world of hybrid working environments. So why do you think that?
Yeah. So again, with the changes after the pandemic, I think the hybrid environment is going to continue for probably for a long time, although it's different in every company, of course, due to the nature of the business. But we need to have solutions that are creating the engagement across a hybrid audience, which is slightly more difficult, as we all know, versus having everyone in one room and close the door. We believe that finding different ways to trigger that, because you can't, again, have one size fits all or the same flavor every time in order to not wear it out. Providing a combination of flexibility, a combination of variations, a combination of different tools for different purposes. There's a big difference of onboarding a group of super excited new employees into a company versus doing the Monday morning, 8 o'clock sales meeting in order to use different tools to create engagement in the room. We also believe that there's a big difference of doing the kind of briefing versus sales competition or a Friday afternoon team exercise, of course. So if you want your employees to not be disengaged, it needs to be portioned out with the right tools for the right occasion. And it needs, of course, in the end of the day, to be interesting and good material from the company itself in a work setting, and combining that with the right tools for engagement, we believe is really what this is all about. And this is a little bit more tricky with a hybrid audience, but definitely not impossible. The way to think about it is that we need to treat all employees alike, whether they are in the room or not, for whatever reason. And we need to also make sure that it's a good way and venue to make all voices heard, at the same time giving the presenter or the meeting leader very time efficient tool to make that happen. And if we are able to combine all that, which we think we are, and are of course constantly improving, I think the Cahoot Work or Kahoot 360 product is very much what makes that happen for the presenters and also for the organization.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I would love you to share a success story from any of your customers, companies that have used Kahoot at work to improve their training programs.
Yeah, I think we have great case studies from very different industries. I think we see big tech corporations using Kahoot for building corporate culture, not because they don't have enough developers or because they don't have the resources internally, but they see the value of using Kahoot for making that happen. We have big retail chains using Kahoot for onboarding of new employees to make sure that everyone's are trained on whether there are new rules for hygiene or campaigns for products for this week's special offers. We have financial sector using Kahoot for also customer training, for compliance pre-training, for strategy distribution from top to middle management. We have also pretty good partnership with several bigger tech and publishers when it comes to distributing their assets either internally in their organization or for their customers from the Kahoot platform. And we also see big NGOs, global NGOs, are using Kahoot internally to create excitement around their messaging, whether it's for internal purpose or for external purpose, including, of course, government itself and law enforcement using it for training, for role playing in discussion points internally. So I think you can find a lot of very different, but at the same time valid cases that can be replicated and also recognized in all kinds of organizations around the world. And we're very happy to see also that large organizations, not only in the US and Europe, but also around the world, are using Kahoot structurally over time for these purposes.
Yeah, that's good to hear. And they're super interesting examples. When I'd always like to look at future trends, and I would love to understand the key trends that you believe will shape the future of education and corporate training. What are some of the key trends that you are seeing as someone that is very closely involved in that industry, and what are you watching very closely?
Yeah, first of all, I think we have a lot of companies in the world who are doing a great job building out both the platforms for education or for distributing learning assets, but also, of course, the technology stack, whether it's starting with the hardware or the services based, cloud-based services that makes companies like Kahoot able to also build our own services on top of that. So the combination of using examples here, developing iPhone with better cameras and better processing power to be able to run AI services on the device, combined with 5G, combined with more and more structured information and unstructured information being available either for creation or consumption from a learner perspective. And at the same time, the ability for teachers to be able to use fairly affordable device technology to create fantastic material or use great material from other publishing partners or sources that they trust in their educational work is going to continue as a trend for sure. And then AI, well, I don't think we have seen nothing yet when it comes to the ability for AI to be more precise, more valuable, more efficient for both teachers and learners versus what we've seen, which is exceptional already, but that's just going to be even more astonishing in the years to come, of course. And then I think we'll have this back and forth, whether using device in the classroom or how to use technology in a school setting versus the social aspect in a classroom, for example, hopefully we'll see a way to use all the great devices we have in the world in a smart way. Also in education, it would be a shame to not use that investment in technology for all students. But at the same time, it needs to be managed in a way that it's not either abused or abusing time in the classroom, of course. And of course, last but not least, I think we'll see a lot of the content from great publishers and hopefully also from other companies being packaged and shared in a way that they can contribute to the general learning in a more efficient way than maybe what we can find today in different sources. So in school, hopefully better devices at an affordable price that can easily consume secure content and trustworthy content, with AI accelerating the individual learning eagerness without any extra effort from the teacher presenter. And at work, I think we will see that companies will more and more focus on more engaging learning solutions and to get the message across and to make sure that, which is what learning is all about, right? Changing behavior. And there's no point training employees in doing something and they continue to do what they did before. So finding those ways to do that in a way that is actually matching the receiver is more important than ever with what we have now of tools and opportunities, and hopefully the new technology, new content, and a better way to distribute will help that as well. And that's very much what we are focusing on, and making sure that not only the managers and those with a big screen can have great learning outcome, but also those who are out in the field or are non-desk workers in general are able to use Kahoot and of course other solutions to be trained on the site or on the way to their workplace in a much more efficient way than what we used to have.
Thank you so much. I couldn't agree more. I think those trends are super exciting. There are definitely some challenges there around making this technology accessible and using it safely in classrooms. I agree. But I think overall, technologies like AI and immersive technology are super exciting and can only make learning better. And I believe learning has never been more important than it is today. So thank you so much, Eilert, for your fascinating insights today.
Thank you.
Anyone who ever wants to rewatch this conversation, simply head to my YouTube channel where you can find this one and hundreds of others on the topic of future technology. Or you can also have audio-only versions on any of the podcast platforms. Thank you very much and see you soon. Bye-bye.